Alright, I'm going to talk about factoring trinomials. So this says factor the polynomial if prime enter the polynomial is given. So again, prime means that we can't factor it with integers. So in a lot of these we're working with, there is a way to factor it, and you'll see that later on in the course. But we're just working with ones that we want to factor out with integer coefficients, right? So we don't want to like have x minus 4/3 plus uh, 1/2 x plus 10/6, right? So we're just factoring with integers, so that's what prime means. Okay, so how do we start? Well, the first thing we do is we want to see if we can factor out any integers, right? So is there a common factor in all these? We see everything's positive, so we know at least 2 is a common factor. And we can see that 4 is not a common factor, 6 isn't a common factor, so it's just 2 that's a common factor. And you can always see if you factor something out and then they're still all positive, maybe you missed another factor. But 2 is just the greatest common factor here. So let's rewrite this, factoring out 2. Okay, so now how do you factor something like this? Obviously, if you want to FOIL two terms, something like 3x plus 1 times x plus 5, right? You'd get a polynomial. So I kind of like to think about things in reverse FOIL. So what do we have to FOIL to come up with a polynomial like this? And actually, there's not a great way just to see it. We'll know a few things. First of all, we'll know that because 3 is prime, we'll have the only way to get this term is 3x times x. We know that there's going to be a minus and a plus term here, because if they're both pluses, this last term, right, when you do the last term, that would be a plus if they were both negative and a plus if they were both positive. So one has to be a negative and one has to be a positive, but we don't really actually know the order. It could be something like this and something like this. And finally, we know that the last term has to be the product of the two last terms. So the only way to get 8 is 8 times 1 or 4 times 2. But again, because of the negatives, we don't know whether this is -4 or -8 or -1, right? So my suggestion is to brute force it, and that means to write out every possible FOIL you can. So actually, I'll keep this. Like I said, we're going to have our last terms are going to be 8 and 1 or 4 and 2, but they can't be anything else. And our first terms are going to be 3x and x, and they can't be anything else. But the positive and minuses, those could change. So what I've gone ahead and done is listed every single possible combination here. And you can see there's not that many. Well, there was a good bit, but I think there's 8 here, right? You can do -8, +1, +8, -1, and then reversing that, -1 and +8, 1 and -8, and then, keep going. And this isn't that hard to come up with. So we use the information we have, and so one of these is our answer. We're looking at the answer right now. We just have to figure out which one it is. So we know that the last terms multiply to this. We know that the sum of like this first term and this and the O and the I of FOIL, outer, meaning 3x and 1, and then -8 and x, the sum will be -10. So that's kind of what we're checking here. So we basically only have to check the O and the I and the FOIL because we know the other parts are true. So -8x plus 3x, that's -5x. So we can start crossing off things pretty quickly. So just do the O and the I of FOIL, right? So 3x times 1, that's 3x. -8 times x, that's -8x. So that's -5x, right? So that can't be it. And similarly, we'll know, well, +8x minus 3x, that's +5x. So we're seeing a pattern here that this probably isn't going to be it. 3x and 8 is 24x, minus x is 23x. So that's not going to be it. And again, minus 24x plus x is negative 23x. So none of these are going to be it, right? So we've gotten that far. All right, so then 4x, positive 4x, minus 6x, negative 2x, no. Minus 4x plus 6x, that's positive 2x, no. Negative 2x plus 12x, that's positive 10. Aha, we're getting closer. So we know it's something like this. But let's try this last one. So if we do the inner 2x, positive 2x minus 12x, well that minus, so that's 12x minus 2x, that's minus, did I say that right? Positive 2x minus 12x, right? That's minus 10x. So we found that the only possible thing we could FOIL to get this is this factor, right? So let's copy this. So we've determined that the only way to get this is through this factor. And I know it takes a while and it's going to be tedious, but and in the future, we're actually going to find a way to factor it no matter what the numbers are, and that will help us a lot. But in the meantime, this is our full factorization. And let's show the answer. Yeah, that's right. And again, so just try every combination. That's really the only way to get through this. And I know it takes a few minutes, but it's what you have to do. And trust me, you'll only be doing it now because after you finish this course, you'll have a tool, the quadratic equation, that will let you factor any polynomial or any quadratic polynomial. So I hope this helps, and please email me if you have any questions.